I believe that this visit here today in Latvia and our conversation at the Edgars base, we just had the opportunity to see the demonstration by the military brigade. It shows the strong NATO presence here in Latvia and demonstrates how the battle group has evolved successfully into a brigade. And I would like to thank Canada as the leading country and all of our allies here. Thank you to all of the staff, all of the commanding officers. Thank you for everything that has already been done through this adaptation and transition process. And of course, today with Mr. Rutte, we also discussed various important issues in the context of supporting Ukraine, in the context of the necessary steps to be taken for NATO to become ever stronger, and several issues that I mentioned I would like to note here as well. First of all, Latvia is currently dedicating 3.4% of its GDP for defense. We see that the aggressor Russia and its satellite Belarus is not ready to stop in Ukraine, and neither through their attaining more weapons nor testing our willpower. So it is absolutely clear that all of the allies no longer have to speak about 2% of GDP, but rather a much higher percentage to be dedicated to defense. So I think 2.53% would be the minimum threshold that is needed, in my opinion. Secondly, we also discussed practical steps to reinforce the NATO military presence here. Anti-air systems, we have to learn from the incidents that we've seen in the past, such as the Russian drone that was found in Latvian territory. We have to do everything to ensure that the NATO presence is here, and NATO allies have to do ever more to reinforce not only their military capacity, but also mobilize the military industry as such. And obviously we are speaking about NATO policy in future. NATO in future, considering the outcome of the U.S. elections. I think we are both of the same opinion that our main issue at hand right now is rather than the internal political processes of NATO member states, but rather how to reinforce NATO as such, reinforce our military industry, and only then will we have a strong transatlantic relationship. And I believe that we have no doubt about the future of NATO, which I'm sure Mr. Rutte will confirm. And lastly, of course, Ukraine. We see what's going on in Ukraine. I informed Secretary General that Latvia will continue to provide support to Latvia in the form of 0.25% of GDP from our annual budget. This has already been included in our budget for 2025 and 26. It's clear that we need NATO support as well. It is important that we have to provide to Ukraine everything it needs right now, and Ukraine has the right to use everything they obtain to use on the battlefield without any restrictions. So it was a pleasure to be here today with the military personnel, so many ambassadors and so many representatives, high representatives, and with the Secretary General of NATO to see how the NATO forces here in Latvia have evolved. But this is just a single step forward to reinforcing our alliance. With that, I would like to conclude. Thank you, Mark, for being here, and I give the floor to you, please.